The world has changed. A few years back, only certain areas in certain regions were affected, and turmoil, turbulence, and killing, looting, plundering was to be seen. The Western society was not affected. And now, this wave of terrorism is taking the entire world under their terror. It's like you're under siege in your own home. Life has become so uncertain. Few years back, when I would hear news about Pakistan, news about killing, bombing, I used to take a sigh of relief that I do not live in Pakistan. I live in England, where everything is okay, no terrorism. But today, almost everybody in this world is in utter distress. I wish somebody should say to these world leaders that this wave of terrorism is not a coincidence. It is apocalyptical. It has been foretold. And you can only combat with these devils of ISIS and Daesh when you have a profound insight into the current affairs. You must have a thorough study and understanding of what is happening. The approach from the world leaders towards ISIS, Daesh, Taliban, and Al Qaeda is very superficial. It is not addressing the root of the problem. They can only see what is on the surface. But in order to crush this evil movement by Islamists, you have to have a profound insight into the root of the problem. Peaceful Muslims every now and then come forward and they say, terrorism has nothing to do with our religion. But on the other hand, the terrorists are Muslim and the flag has the motto of Islam printed on it. It is not clear. All these peaceful Muslims who come forward and they give their statements that they are innocent and the religion of Islam does not teach atrocities, killing, or hatred. They should bear in mind that when they say it, maybe they do not know or maybe they do not realize, but this is how it appears, as if they are representing the entire community of Muslims. You need to be very specific. You need to say that, of course, these terrorists are coming from an Islamic group, but this group of Islam has its roots in Wahhabism. Now they should change their terminology and they should empower their vocabulary and include a word that mainstream Islam, which was formed under the guidance of the Quran, does not support terrorism. And at the same time, it is a must for Muslims and non-Muslims alike to understand the fact that whatsoever is happening today in the form of atrocities and terrorism, this has been foretold by the Prophet of Islam. No matter how rigid, how stubborn, whether a violent Muslim or a peaceful Muslim may become, if he believes in the Prophet of Islam and in the Quran, he or she has to admit the fact that Islam has expired. And this is why people who claim to be Muslims are not following Islam, because Islam has expired. Prophet Muhammad said, "A time will come upon my community whereby nothing will be left in Islam for except its name, and nothing will be left in the holy book of Quran for except the customary recitation." What Prophet Muhammad said 1436 years ago, we can see it in practice. They're all claiming to be Muslims and killing Muslims. I must tell you, the primary victim of these terrorist organizations are Muslims. The primary victim of these terrorist organizations is Muslim. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So simple, right? When you say these terrorists are not Muslim, people find it really difficult to understand. Oh, they're holding a flag which has the motto of Islam printed on it. How can you say these people are not Muslims? If I ask you a question, okay, if they are Muslim, why are they blowing up mosques? Why are they blowing up mosques? So the thing is, it's not about Islam. Islam, as per foretelling of the Prophet of Islam, has expired. What you now see under the label of Islam is not Islam. This is a set of belief which has been designed, formulated by people who had great amount of appetite, of power, and fulfillment of their carnal, monetary desires. Let me say this, sometime when things go wrong, you want to put everything right. And if you know how to put everything right, you do it. Even if it is difficult for you, but you know, if I do this, everything will be right. But we are in a position today where we do not know how to put everything right. For example, as a result of these current airstrikes in Syria and Iraq upon ISIS and their supporters, all these terrorists are killed. Do you think we will be justified to be happy and have a round of applause, and we should start clapping, bravo, well done, everything is sorted, we are safe now? What about these people in every single Western country who have been radicalized and they do not appear as if they are Muslims? I mean, you're hunting down women on the road and in the streets who are wearing veiling and hijab, and you think maybe one of these women is the potential lone wolf or a potential cell or a potential terrorist. But all these terrorists who are carrying out these modern day atrocities are white skinned converts. Most of them have led a playboy life, party animals, boozers, and you do not know. You're riding in a bus and a beautiful blonde sitting next to you will blow up the entire bus in another 2 minutes. There was a time when these terrorists had some kind of distinction. They were easily identified. If they're wearing a hijab, it must be very fundamentalist, extreme type of a woman. But now, they're beach goers, they're party goers, party animals, they're drinking alcohol, they're eating bacon, they're doing everything, right? And next minute they will blow you and themselves up. And you will never know where was you hit from. And this is all because of this radicalization. For example, yesterday, there is a county in the suburbs of Los Angeles, San Bernardino. And there were three individuals who dressed up in an army uniform and who were loaded with guns and explosives. One of them was Sayyid Rizwan Farooq and his wife Tafsheen. And this Sayyid Rizwan Farooq was of Pakistani descent, and his wife was of Pakistani descent, and she lived all her life in Saudi Arabia. And only 2 years ago, she came to live in America. And this is what happened. And this boy was 28 and his wife was 27. This boy was born in California and bred in California. He know American ways. He lived an American life. He was in the pursuit of American dream. But then all of a sudden, and he was a government employee. He was a food inspector. He was a food inspector, my gosh. And he went there to inspect food. And the sad thing is, there was a party going on. And he himself was enjoying the party. He was in the party. There was a party going on. And he was in the party and he was enjoying himself. And then suddenly he went out, came back after 2 minutes with guns in his hands and started shooting. Killed 14 people. You cannot stop it. Because you do not know where is your enemy. You do not know what is the mark of their distinction. How would you recognize them? Whether or not a person has been radicalized will not be obvious. It will not make him grow horns on his head. And the new trend is all these people who have been radicalized, they don't wear hijab, they don't grow beard, they do not even know what Islam is. Why? The question goes to all these world leaders today. Why? They are not concentrating on de-radicalization of the homegrown terrorists. I would like to tell our MFI members that France has taken an initiative today. And they have closed down 4 mosques. Again, we or France are not against mosques. The mosques that have been closed down, according to the evidence, these mosques have been used in radicalization of Muslim youth. This is very good. And a lot of people, including white people, are opposing this initiative by France. And they're saying, oh, why did you do this? There will be a wave of backlash and Muslims will go crazy and, they will come back with more terrorism. No, you have to go through pain. This is like a surgery. This is like an operation which has to be operated upon your body, and you have to go through pain. No gain without pain. All the mosques, all the religious seminaries which have been found involved in radicalization of people, these mosques, according to Islam, must not be considered as mosques. Let me tell you, according to the Muslim faith, in the mosque, you cannot eat. In the mosque, you cannot sleep. You cannot treat a mosque like your own home. When you cannot eat in the mosque, when you cannot sleep in the mosque, how can you preach hatred? How can you make plans of massacre inside the mosque? A mosque is a place where you worship God. You do not make plans of killing innocent people. If a mosque is involved in the process of radicalization, then that mosque is not to be considered as a mosque. That should be known as a terrorist hub. Do you think these mosques where people are making dirty plans of killing innocent people, do you think these mosques are to be considered mosques?
No.
According to the Muslim faith, murder of one man equates killing the entire humanity. Prophet Muhammad said, if you kill one man, it is as bad as killing the entire humanity. Suicide is prohibited in Islam. I mean, it's so simple. It's so easy to understand. When suicide is prohibited in Islam, how the hell on earth you justify that suicide bombing is halal and it will take you into heaven? Suicide is prohibited in Islam. And this suicide bombing is not simply a suicide attempt. It is a suicide of you giving away your life, and at the same time you're taking lives of so many dozen people. Killing yourself is not allowed. And you're not just killing yourself, you're killing hundreds of people with you. Now listen to me, Mirza. When suicide is killing yourself, right?
Yes.
When you are not allowed to kill yourself and it is haram, how killing others is halal? Yes, it is evident that ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, and all likewise groups of people who are under the impression that they are warriors of God, and by cutting throats of innocent people, they are paving their way into heaven. They live in fool's paradise.
True.
And the first verse of Quran is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allah the most merciful. You're saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and you're cutting their throats. This is a great contradiction. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Allah is the most merciful and you're killing people. And you're saying Allah is merciful and you're killing. How the hell on earth can you justify this killing? But I want to tell you, with terrorists, there must not be a dialogue.
True.
They do not understand the language of love. They do not have brains. If you want to have a dialogue with human beings. They are not human beings. Those who support a dialogue with terrorists, they of course are terrorist sympathizers.
Very true.
There cannot be a dialogue with terrorists. An allegation has been made against Turkey by Russia that the President Erdogan of Turkey is involved in buying oil from ISIS. It is an allegation until proven guilty. However, there are things that obviously raise concern. For example, there is a border area between Syria and Turkey, 500 miles long, and it is free. There is a border area between Syria and Turkey, and it is unprotected, unguarded, and it's open. If Turkey thinks that ISIS is their enemy and they are killers of humanity, then why have they left this long border area open, unguarded, unprotected? This is the reason why people who want to join ISIS, they go to Turkey, and through Turkey they go into Syria. And then question number 2, when people in the United States of America, the government of the United States of America, the UK government, the France government, they all know people are going to join ISIS through Turkey. Why did they not ask Turkey, why have you left your borders open? So there is something fishy. Although we do not have the evidence, and as a common man, we have no access through which we can obtain an evidence against Turkey. which can prove that the allegation made by Russia is right. However, these things are suggesting there is something fishy. There is something fishy. Erdogan's daughter is a doctor. And all these ISIS fighters, when they get injured, she opens a medical camp there inside Syria and she heals them. She treats them. I really don't understand why the Western society has to play diplomatic all the time, even when you are at war with the enemy. Those who are helping terrorists, do not befriend them. Saudi Arabia buys ammunition from America and other countries, and Saudi Arabia then gives it to ISIS. Why are you still shaking hands with Saudi Arabia? This is so bad. Are you playing a game with innocent people? When the airstrikes start, we took a sigh of relief, thinking now ISIS is gone and the world will be at last at peace. Right? But when we find out that not all the necessary measures are being taken, and what is being done is not sufficient enough to clear off the shit of ISIS, then our heart becomes restive again. Every single individual who is living in the Western society now is under great amount of distress and discomfort and stress. You need to find a solution. And the solution is there. But you have closed your eyes because of your vested interests. You're doing one thing to show to the world that you're doing something to curb terrorism. But deep down in your heart, you know what you're doing in order to show off to people is not sufficient enough to take care of this shit. You have to take honest measures. And only the honest measures will bring about results. Otherwise, even with the airstrikes, you will never reach your goal. You only end up satisfying your own people that you have taken some measures, but it was so difficult and it was this and it was that. We were not successful.
Aura TV. Guidance brought to you